Hi, I'm Talicza.
And I'm Rachael, and this is Transatlantic Crime, a true crime podcast that covers stories from each side of the pond. Every week, we will both cover a separate story with a running theme.
Disclaimer, this podcast will contain swearing and details that some people may find offensive. If you are of a sensitive disposition, listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Transatlantic Crime.
Crime. So close.
So, how are you, mate?
I'm great. Yeah, just quick disclaimer for listeners. There's construction going on outside my window, so if you hear drilling or hammering at some point, that's what it is. It's not your imagination.
No, I'm downstairs when I usually always record in my bedroom, but it is like 10 degrees hotter upstairs than it is downstairs. And in England, there's no air conditioning. So me and Carly have been like spraying ourselves with water bottles, putting fans on ourselves, like cold tea towels. Like, it's hell on earth here. It's 32 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's like probably not the hottest it is in LA, but it's like a hot day in LA.
Yeah, I think that's around 80-ish degrees.
It's fucking hell on earth. I've literally been in my pants all day working from home because the COVID's still happening. Oh yeah, I was supposed to update you about France, wasn't I?
Yeah, how is France? How are you doing?
Oh,
you came back.
Fucking
You're
hell.
alive.
So basically, me and Vince had a huge argument in the middle of it, which was totally his fault, and like he admits that it was his fault, but I could just feel his tense energy from the second we left until the second he blew up at me, and I just knew it wasn't a good idea to travel during COVID, and like it was about 40 degrees out there. It was so fucking hot. The air conditioning in his car doesn't work. Like, it was just a complete recipe for disaster. So I stropped off and went to a hotel with air conditioning, which was great. So, although I'm quite poor now as a result, but to be honest, Satan himself couldn't have gotten me out of that hotel room. So
you had some tea time, some Talicza time.
yeah, I did. Necessary.
Yeah.
But, you know, I recall like when I was younger, I would have stayed in that house and argued with, because we were staying at his friend's house. I would have stayed in that house and argued with him for like a day. But now I was like, fuck off. I'm right, you're in the wrong. I'm going to a hotel. I'm going to give you some time to think about what you did. And I would recommend that plan of action to anyone who's in a situation where their boyfriend's being a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Just leave.
Yeah.
Just leave.
You don't have to take it. You don't have to sit
Nope.
in it. You can remove yourself from the situation and get your mind better, and that's what's important.
So I was really fucked off, like called my mum, had a bit of a cry, and then I was in the hotel and I was like, oh, this is really good. And then they had Channel 5 in the UK, like it's French, but they had Channel 5 and Friends was on.
What?
Which was brilliant. Yeah. And then no Forensic Files, unfortunately.
Aww.
Yeah, Friends was on, and then I called down to like the lovely French reception woman who was obviously just beautiful and looked like a doll. And I said, not in French because fuck you, I've spoken enough French that holiday.
Yeah, you're in a hotel. They expect other languages there.
I'm paying to speak English to you. I was like, right, if I order pizza and it gets delivered to the reception, is that okay? She was like, yeah. And I was like, and can I get some toothpaste? She was like, yeah. And then she called me and was like, your pizza's here. And I just walked downstairs and she handed me a pizza with a mini toothpaste on top of it. And I was just like, yes.
That's all you need in life, is someone to hand you a pizza with some toothpaste.
Just give me exactly what I asked for with no conversation. That is what I want.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Not
France.
a far walk to get it either.
No, and then I go right back to my air-conditioned room. Then I take my trousers straight off. And then I eat the pizza and watch Friends. So glad I left.
Yeah.
Would recommend to anyone who is able to.
I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you had that time.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I didn't even really think about it. And then people afterwards were like, oh, well done you. And I was like, yeah, well done me.
Yeah. So you and your boyfriend are good now though, right?
Yeah, we're fine. Like, he stayed out for another week and I came home to like Carly and the dog. So I think we're going to have a week apart, which would be like good for us. And then yeah, like we're fine. Like he was totally in the wrong. So like I'm definitely fine.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you did something wrong, and like at times I've been getting a bit like, oh god, that was really, and then I'm like, wait there, you didn't do anything.
Right.
Don't be annoyed at yourself. I'm annoyed that like it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but I guess it's just like a learning curve, isn't it? No relationship is perfect.
Definitely. And also, like, you've said this to me in the past couple of weeks too. It's COVID, quarantine. Everything's 100 times harder. Relationships, work, working from home, all that bullshit is just times 10.
I got an email as well today at work, and it was like, hello, there have been discussions about going back to the office. And the email actually read, I'm just going to cut to the point. We're not going back to the office. I was like, I like the cut of your jib.
Love it. Just one sentence.
She was like, I don't have fucking time for this. How are you? About my holiday from not hell, but that didn't go good.
I'm pretty good. I'm in an Airbnb right now because I wanted
again with the COVID.
Yes. Quarantine, COVID, too much time in my tiny apartment, and it's just been really nice to just have some time to myself as well. And I feel really lucky that, you know, it's a privilege to be able to do that, obviously.
Oh my fucking god. Imagine, like, if you've got kids, you can't do that.
Mm-mm.
If you've got no money, you can't do that. Yeah, obviously there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't be able to just leave.
Right.
But if you can, motherfucking go.
Do it. And if you can't, try and do it like in small ways, like go for a walk by yourself or listen to music that makes you happy.
Yeah, but like when I was younger, I hated time on my own.
Yeah.
Like didn't like my own thoughts. And like now I crave alone time. Even though I haven't got kids, I can't imagine what it feels like to have kids and want alone time.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Same. I have a husband and a dog and I feel that way.
You're like, I can't motherfucking breathe.
But then I also grew up without being able to have the option of being by myself because
same.
I have 8 siblings, so...
Yeah, okay, you win. That's fucking silly.
Yeah, but where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I'm in my Airbnb right now. It's really nice. It's by the beach, and I am just taking
like
that
Venice
time.
Beach.
Venice Beach. Yep.
Oh, you can go and look at the bodybuilders and stuff. Or are they not allowed because of COVID?
I don't think that they're doing that right now. It is still kind of busy there, which makes me kind of on edge a little bit because I'm still like, I don't want to be around big groups of people. But it's nice to walk on the sand and be by the ocean. But yeah.
like you're in a Coldplay video.
I am in a Coldplay video.
Always. Also, okay, so this is the last thing and then we'll get on to the actual murders.
Yes.
But me and Carly, I don't know how it came around, but we decided we were going to watch, because we didn't want to go outside, it's too hot, the Hannibal series.
Oh.
Not the TV series, like the books that were made into films, but like in order.
Right. What is there? There's like 4, right?
Yeah, I'm going to bore you with it now, as I have many people previously. So this isn't the order they came out in. This is the order they are meant to be watched in. Yeah. And Carly was like, let's watch them in the order they came out in. And I was like, why? And then I told my brother, and my brother was like, you can tell Carly she's a fucking maniac. That's the brother that showed his pubes to my nan and smashed a TV with a brick.
Of course it is.
Who's the maniac, really?
Takes one to know one.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, we said we were going to watch Hannibal Rising, which is about when he's a kid and how he becomes a cannibal, which I'm going to admit I didn't really enjoy because they make him out to be this, like, 007 superhero type guy who, like, goes after people. And it's like, Hannibal is so much cooler than that. Like, he just waits for people to come to him.
Right.
He's not running after anyone. And then it's Red Dragon. But there's Red Dragon, and then there's a remake of that. No, sorry. So there's original, which is called Manhunter.
Oh.
And it's like a previous version of the book adaptation of Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. And it's so 80s, and there's like no one famous in it. It's not that good. It's, I guess, okay. But when you watch Red Dragon, it's got Ed Norton in it and Anthony Hopkins and like the original guy from the Insane Asylum.
Yeah. Like
all the original, like loads of original actors. And it's got the guy from, I forget his name, Harvey something from Pulp Fiction, who's like the wolf.
Oh, Harvey Keitel.
That's the fella who cleans stuff up.
Just full of acting heavyweights.
Oh yeah, they've really got like the budget. And then the guy who plays Voldemort is the guy who plays the murderer in Red Dragon.
Ralph Fiennes.
Fiennes, yeah. But we watched it and I was so annoyed because there's like a big, well, what I thought was quite a big plot hole, which is basically, right, if you haven't watched the film, then fuck you, because it came out in 2012, so this is not a spoiler.
Catch up.
But, so yeah. So, well, if you don't want to hear it, you can just skip ahead. So basically, Hannibal Lecter is in correspondence with the murderer, aka the Tooth Fairy. Okay. I'm doing air quotes.
Yeah.
And he sends Hannibal Lecter a note on toilet paper because he can eat the toilet paper or flush it down the toilet to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you that's ripped up paper, like, that's like more obvious.
Right.
Right. I was like, right. I get all that. But how did that fucking toilet paper get to Hannibal Lecter? Like, surely he's not allowed letters. Surely they check his letters. I'm not joking. I Googled it for like an hour. Like, maybe I was just like blinded by Hannibal and like couldn't think properly. But I called my dad and he answered the phone and was like, hello? And I was like, what's wrong with you? He was like, you just woke me up. And I was like, right, okay, well, have you seen Red Dragon?
Cut to the chase.
I was like, look, I'm not, okay, in that case, I'm not going to waste time. And he was like, I've seen Enter the Dragon. And I was like, no, the one with Anthony Hopkins. He went, I know what you mean. I'm just fucking you around. I was like, oh, Brian, you've been up 2 seconds and you're hot off the comedy press. I was like, yeah, I can't figure it out. And my dad was like, oh, all right. So he literally spent an hour Googling it. Turns out he found the answer in YouTube comments under a video of that scene.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love deep diving comments on YouTube.
I know. I don't do it enough. And on there it said they can X-ray Hannibal's mail, but they can't read it.
Okay, but
they say that apparently.
Okay.
They say it in the book and they say it in the Red Dragon with Ed Norton in the newer one. I didn't hear it, right? So. And I don't think I'm stupid. Like, I got quite a lot. I, like, guessed stuff before it happened. So, like, I'm not fucking slow. But I was just like, they must have gone, not allowed to check his mail. Like, that's how they must have said it. Because I did not fucking hear that. And I was like, stuck to the film. So I'm going to have to do something horribly geeky and pointless. Like, download the fucking script and, like, search for where they say it.
Yeah, you will.
Or read the book. I'm just going to have to do it. Because that's going to piss me off.
Learn to speed read just for this reason.
Can't look at his mouth.
Maybe like it was said in passing? I don't know.
Well, it was said fucking not loud enough because loads of people apparently in the YouTube comments, because I said to my dad, I'm not stupid, am I? Other people were asking that question. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, like a dozen people asked it. Yeah. So I'm glad it wasn't just me. And honestly, maybe we'll come back to it later in the podcast because we've probably lost about 50% of our listeners right now. But I could go on about this for like an hour. So, and I've only got 2 cans of gin and tonic.
The theme this week is crimes of passion. Ooh.
Yes. Ooh. Who goes first?
I never know.
It's you.
Is it me?
I think it's you. Okay.
So, this is the high school love triangle that resulted in murder.
Ooh, there's loads of those.
Yeah. Adrianne Reynolds was 16 years old when she moved from Texas to Illinois to live with her adoptive father and stepmother, Tony and Joanne Reynolds, in November 2004.
Is that far?
Texas is south. Illinois is...
Midwest?
Yeah, Midwest. Like, if you go straight up from Texas. It's really close to Minnesota, actually.
Oh, okay. So it's quite far and change of climate.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And different accents and different climate and very different worlds.
Yeah.
She had a tough time in Texas. She wasn't getting along with her mother, and she fell into a tough crowd, and she was falling behind at school. So her mom agreed to let her move to Illinois as she thought it would be safer. Once in Illinois, Adrianne enrolled at Black Hawk College Outreach, an alternative school for high schoolers who struggled to fit in at traditional schools.
It sounds like a school a goth made up.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's not a real school. You're not going there. The logo is scrawled in black nail polish. No.
Yeah, and once you find out about some of the students there, then you would think that even more.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, 16 years old. how old was I in 2004? 17. She was born in 1988. So what year were you born?
Me, 1988.
Oh, I thought so. Okay. So you guys are the same age.
Yeah, because you're a bit older than me, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 87. So
Yeah.
Adrianne aimed to join the military once graduating, and she loved singing, performing in school talent shows, and she dreamed of someday making it on American Idol.
I don't know, man. I don't know if that sounds like a good idea.
At the time, that was a big show, so I think that was like the only singing competition show, so it was big.
If I had a penny for every time someone went to me, you should go on that old X Factor.
Really?
I would have about 25 pence because honestly, so many people fucking said that, and I was just like, no, it's gonna be horrible.
I would never do that experience.
Yeah.
Especially having worked in TV, I know exactly how it goes down. So
it's never the person with the best voice. It's the person who's gonna like freak out and explode, and the person who's gonna have a fight with someone else, or
yeah.
You know, they look for, or the person who's like both their parents have died. Like they look for people with a story and with personality disorder.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And they can sing.
They can sing or they can't sing. That's what I don't like about those shows is they specifically get people who they put them through the audition rounds, because when they're on TV, that's not their first audition. They go through like 3 auditions to get to that point.
Yeah. And it's like, well, they sit in front of TV producers before they go and see Simon Cowell.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's really cruel.
It
is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for like
it's like bear
the
baiting.
delusional people who are like, I'm a great singer.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't know how you can't hear that you're shit.
I don't know.
Sorry, my dog is chasing flies and he's like chasing flies around and you can hear his little fucking claws on the kitchen lino. But it's because he won't let us cut them. He just goes absolutely mental.
Aww.
I may have cut one too short once.
Aww.
And it bled a bit.
Dogs
and
get
I
over
think I've
that.
scarred it. He fucking doesn't seem to have. Anyway. So, yeah, this girl wanted to be on American Idol.
Yeah, and she was a good singer apparently, so.
Okay.
That was her dream. She was outgoing, she had a cute Texan accent, and she was very focused on her social life. She soon gravitated towards close friends Sarah Kolb and Corey Gregory. Corey and Sarah were inseparable. Corey was supposedly in love with Sarah and followed her around wherever she went.
So Corey's a boy, Sarah's a girl.
Yes.
Okay, so boy and a girl, she's friends with them.
Yeah. Sarah was known as an alpha female in her circle of friends, and she was popular in school. She had come out as bisexual, and she had also joined the local juggalos in her town. Do you know what juggalos are?
What the fuck is that?
You don't know what juggalos are?
No. Can I guess?
Yes, please guess.
It's either teenager Hooters for teenagers or juggling club.
No.
Am I wrong on both?
You are
What is
very
it?
wrong. Okay, do you know the band Insane Clown Posse?
Yeah.
You sound so exasperated. Yeah.
Fuck it. Obviously, they're shit. Yes.
They're
What?
terrible. So in America, especially in the Midwest, they've gotten really popular, especially around this time in like 2004-ish.
Are they like a dance group?
No, they're like a heavy metal band.
Oh.
If you ever see like the black like line over people's eyes, like going like through, do you ever see that? It's like makeup, and like sometimes they have like a white face and makeup.
Yeah.
That is juggalos.
What a fucking stupid idea.
It's so stupid. And the juggalos got their name. They're basically like a fan base of Insane Clown Posse. And they got their name because they... Sorry, Rachel, but my idea of Teenage Hooters and all the juggling club were both better than that. They're so weird that... like, that's probably incorporated into it. They just are so weird. They have like their own like slang. At the time they wore like huge baggy trousers and wore the weird makeup, and just like this weird underground gang that's a huge fan of Insane Clown Posse. And like people have gotten like weird face tattoos because of them. Just so weird. A couple of years ago I saw an article from Vice, and they just basically went to like this group of juggalos that
convention?
were also kind of, but they were also like
Jugfest.
It was probably. It was this guy, insanely overweight, and he had like this house of sex workers and exotic dancers, and they were all juggalos.
Only in America, Rachel.
I know. Yep.
Land of the free.
Louis Theroux
Home of the
should do a
brave.
documentary on juggalos. It would be
Hell
hilarious.
Yeah. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Well, we've just lost our juggalo fan base.
I'm glad about that. If you're a juggalo, stop listening.
I wish you neither ill nor well. So
I'm going to start sending you juggalo videos. You can post them too. All right. So Sarah and Corey were juggalos. Although she had made friends in that short time, Adrianne gravitated towards Sarah's popularity. She cut her hair short and she started listening to heavy metal bands. I'm sure that included Insane Clown Posse. So she was just trying really hard to fit in, and she wanted to be popular and regular teenage girl shit.
Yeah.
She and Sarah began a flirty relationship. Sarah told her friends that she thought Adrianne was hot. They wrote love notes to each other and began to hang out outside of school. In December of 2004, the relationship got rocky when Sarah and Adrianne went to a party together. Adrianne disappeared for a few hours and returned later on in the night, telling Sarah that she hooked up with a guy. Again, regular high school drama.
Yeah.
The next day, she hooked up with another guy. Sarah was livid and stopped speaking to Adrianne. You've been there. I've been there. Just so, like, petty, like, I'm never talking to you again.
It's just like, where have you been? Getting a blowjob? Well, thanks. Like, literally, that's happened to me before. So, yeah, I can relate.
It was elevated because Sarah had a crush on Adrianne, and I think Adrianne was trying to figure out if she liked girls as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like all's fair in love and war at that age, isn't it? You just stick it in anything.
Right. And the notes that they passed to each other was very like, oh, have you ever been with a girl? How far have you gotten with a girl before? And da-da-da-da.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. So I think Sarah was like thinking that things were going to go her way, and obviously when Adrianne started hooking up with guys, then she just got really pissed off.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sarah was livid and stopped speaking to Adrianne. At school, she avoided her altogether, but Adrianne was persistent in trying to fix the friendship. She wrote Sarah notes and called her home every day. Sarah had no intention to reconcile. She told several friends that she wanted to kill Adrianne and even wrote the same feelings in her diary.
That's a bingo tick.
Mm-hmm. At one point, she supposedly pulled a knife on Adrianne, saying, "Get the hell out of the house and stay away from me and my friends." Adrianne apparently replied, "Do what you need to do. Kill me. I don't care."
Fucking hell, these kids are hard.
I know.
It's like a prison documentary.
Sarah had like a really short fuse as well. She was apparently like really nice and she was popular, but she would always like threaten someone if they were like not complying with her or whatever.
Yeah.
So she kind of sounds like a bully too, like one of those popular bullies.
Yeah.
Things escalated even further when Adrianne began writing notes to Corey and had expressed interest in Sarah's boyfriend, Sean.
Oh, fuck you.
But it's like, it's just like teenage girl stuff. It's like, oh, I think I like
Oh
you.
my
And
God.
you know, every week you have a crush on a new person. So.
And like loads of you have slept with the same person or done stuff with the same person.
Right.
Because you're just like, whatever.
And
like,
I like Adrianne because I feel like she's just like really open with telling everyone how she feels. And she's just like, I don't know if I like girls. I'm trying to figure it out. I like this guy. I'm going to kiss this guy. Like, that's what you do when you're a teenager. You're just figuring shit out.
Yeah, you do you.
And Sarah's just pissed off because she wants control of everything.
Yeah.
So Corey had even told Sarah that Adrianne and he had kissed. So that's where things had gotten from November all through December. They were like going to parties and stuff. And by January, Sarah wasn't really talking to Adrianne. But On January 21st, 2005, Sarah, Sean, and Corey invited Adrianne to go to lunch at Taco Bell to discuss their friendship. Adrianne...
Like the United Nations.
Yeah. We need to figure this out.
We need to write up some sort of treaty.
That's not what they were thinking.
No.
Adrianne eagerly accepted and got into the car with them. So they drove to Taco Bell. While in the parking lot, a fight between the two girls broke out in the car. Sean, Sarah's boyfriend, as soon as the fight started, he was like, nope, I'm out of here.
To be fair, I always think about like attacks in cars and stuff, and I'm like, that is just my worst. It's so, I don't know, it's like having a fight in like a game of Tetris.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, everything is so jammed together. Like,
I know, and
yeah,
you're like,
fuck.
should I jump out? Should I?
You could, like,
Right.
That's one of the options, but like also I just imagine people getting accidentally strangled like from the back seat to the front seat, and like I just think, yeah, just fight it out with some air around you.
Yeah.
Like,
I know for like Lyft and Uber drivers, they recommend, especially for women, they say don't bring mace with you. Bring like a can of like aerosol, like
deodorant.
Yeah, like deodorant or like room spray or whatever.
Yeah.
Use that as your defense, because when you spray mace in a car, it goes everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But if you spray like an aerosol can at someone, like you kind of already know what to expect, and you're pointing it at the other person, and it's kind of okay, but for the other person it's not. So
plus it's not illegal.
Exactly.
Well, I think mace is illegal here. Is it legal there?
No.
Is it state by state?
Yeah, it's everywhere you can have mace. So the thing that's illegal here is
you can't have mace here.
A taser. You have to be like registered for a taser.
Why the fuck would you need a taser? Like, you don't need one.
They go far. Like, if someone broke into your house, you could stand at the other side of the room and be like, get out. And you're not killing someone like a gun, so.
Oh, you're making a good argument, but I'm still not 100%.
I'd rather have a taser than a gun.
We've already spoken about this, and you said you don't want to shit yourself. So...
No, I mean like for defense. Like I would rather have a taser in my bag than a gun, because I don't want to
rather than be
tasered. No, I don't want to be tasered.
No one wants to be tasered.
No. All right. So the fight broke out. Sean, Sarah's boyfriend, ran out of the car. Sarah, Corey, and Adrianne remained in the car. There are varying accounts from each of the teens in the car, but what is known is that Adrianne was strangled and beaten to death.
Fuck.
Also, they were at a parking lot in the middle of the day at a fast food restaurant. There were people around too.
It is a Taco Bell though.
It's a Taco Bell. But apparently people heard the commotion, but they couldn't really tell what was going on because it was really cold out and the windows in the car had fogged up. So nobody could tell. They just thought it was a couple of teenagers fighting, and it was, but obviously it was worse than that.
Yeah, the thing is, I've been thinking about this, and it's like, if you saw something like that going on, do you go and see what it is, or do you just go, none of my fucking business? Because for the most part, I'm none of my business.
Yeah, I think it depends, because I think for us as women, like, what can we do in that situation?
What use am I going to be? Yeah, I might like run. If I see a woman being attacked, like, I'll probably have a go.
Yeah.
If I don't know, two blokes having a fight, I'll be like, get on with it.
Right.
Like,
it's also like, you don't know if these are crazy people or like, and if they fight every day, because I lived in that world in Hollywood where it was just like random scraps in the street. Or is this like a legit like fight where someone's trying to do harm or something? I don't know.
Do you know who lived really near you in West Hollywood that I've just found out about recently?
Who?
Do you want to guess?
Is it like a serial killer?
No, it's like a celebrity, but they're dead now.
Okay.
That's the clue.
Jeez.
All right, I'm just going to tell you because we haven't got much time. Lemmy.
Oh, okay.
You know, like Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived really close to you. We were watching a documentary about it, and he said he had an apartment in West Hollywood, and it was rent controlled, and it was £900 a month.
Wow.
And he wouldn't leave it. And they were like, you need a bigger house. You got so much stuff. He's like, I'm not leaving this place.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. West Hollywood now, man. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, Sarah and Corey, they begin freaking out. Adrianne's body was in the back seat, and they thought that she would wake up, but obviously she never did. They drove to another location, and they carried her body to the trunk of the car, and then they drove to Sarah's grandparents' farm.
No. You call the police.
I know. Their plan was to bury her, but after wrapping her in tarp and attempting to dig a hole, the ground was too frozen, so they gave up.
Dude, have you ever tried to dig a hole?
I mean, yeah, and also Illinois is very similar climate to Minnesota, so January in the Midwest is like...
In the wintry earth.
Yeah.
It's beyond difficult.
Yeah. So...
I had to bury, like, Carly's dead rabbit in the wintry earth.
Oh.
And, like, I ripped my favourite jacket doing it because I put so much effort in. I, like, hulked out of the jacket at the shoulders. And then, like... I was digging and I was like, I am fucking exhausted. And I just had to dig a hole that was like only just big enough for it to like curl in.
Oh.
And yeah. I had a discussion about this on Instagram where I was like, dude, I couldn't dig a whole grave.
Right.
It takes forever. Forever.
And for these kids too, they're like trying to do it secretly. They probably don't have like great shovels or whatever. They're just like trying to be fast. Also, I read that they smoked weed a lot, so they were probably really high at the time as well. So
logic is straight out the window.
Yeah. The next day when they do more stuff, Corey did say that they were really high. So it's gonna start getting a little bit more horrible. Just FYI.
Okay.
So they try and dig a hole. They gave up. Yeah, so anyone who is squeamish, maybe skip ahead a little bit. Instead of burying her, they attempt to pour gasoline on the body and light it on fire. They were hoping that this would be the end of it.
How'd you get that wrong? Attempt to.
Well, apparently it took them 6 hours to try and do this.
Oh, fucking hell. Hi, people. Hi, teenagers.
Yeah. Also, maybe the climate affected it as well.
Yeah.
When the body didn't turn to ash like they were hoping, Sarah had the idea to dismember Adrianne's body. This was too far for Corey, and he wouldn't do it. So they just leave the body, and the next day, Sarah convinced another boy from school, Nate Gaudette, to help her dismember the body. Nate was the kind of kid who liked blood and gore and enjoyed killing animals, so he agreed to do it.
What is this school? This would be a good film, you know?
Yeah.
I can imagine this being a good, like, St. Trinian style film.
Yeah. School for wayward children.
Fucking stupid children by the sounds of it. What are you doing? Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So Nate agreed to do it. All three of them went, and Nate did most of it. I'm not going to go into detail because it's not nice.
I feel like Nate was in that for the gore and maybe a hand job.
He was described as just being like a creepy kid. Like anytime he was in the same room, you just felt how creepy and weird he was.
Like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. So they hid most of the remains on the farm under tree branches and in a ravine. Other body parts they put in a trash bag, put it in the trunk of Sarah's car, and then they drove to McDonald's for lunch. They took a break.
Hungry work. Also, this kid's diet. Taco Bell and McDonald's. How much money have you got? Like, you've got loads of money and you're not eating well.
I don't think that they had a lot of money. I think they were just like middle-ish class.
So they're like 16, 17 because she can drive, so.
Yeah, everyone in this story is 16, 17 age.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Afterwards, the teens hid the trash bag in a manhole and they went home. And also, there's a Dateline episode of this, and they interview Corey. He was like, I forget the interviewer's name.
On Dateline?
Yeah, on Dateline. But he was like, how could you go to McDonald's? And Corey was like, we were just really high. He's just
dismembered a body, mate.
Yeah.
Is that your question?
The scene was, how could you go to McDonald's after doing that? And Corey goes, we were just really high. And then the interviewer is like, what did you order? And he was like,
Fuck
a
off.
Big Mac or something. It's like, why did you include that part?
He chopped up a woman. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Adrianne's parents reported her missing almost immediately. The day she was murdered, she was supposed to go to work at Checkers fast food restaurant after school, but she never showed up. She was supposed to go home, put on her work uniform, and then go to work, and she never did that. So they reported it to police. Police thought she may have been a runaway, but that was disproven when her parents showed that she had not packed a bag, nor had she picked up her paycheck from work.
They're even using the runaway excuse in 2005. Come on.
I don't know. Maybe that is like a common thing then. Like maybe there are a lot of teenagers that go to their friend's house for a couple of days and don't tell anyone, and maybe that's why.
But like, you would take your phone and you would take, well, in 2004, yeah, I had a phone.
2004.
I think
I think 2005 is when I got my
shit
first
phone.
Yeah, my first phone.
Nokia. Yeah.
So I don't think it was that common then.
But it's hard to hide at your friend's house without the mum being like, what are you doing here? Do you want tea?
Right.
Like, so, like, as a teenager, you're not stealth enough to, like, hide in the attic. Like, you're playing Super Mario.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so they report her missing.
So they report her missing. Her parents drove around the area desperately looking for her, and they called everyone they knew to see if they had seen Adrianne. They knew that she hung out with Sarah. They called her like 15 times. Obviously, I don't think Sarah answered. Or at one point, Adrianne's brother like threatened Sarah and was like, if you don't tell me what's going on. And they just had a suspicion that Corey and Sarah had something to do with it, because they were just kind of weird kids.
And high teenagers probably aren't that good at hiding guilt.
Yeah,
no.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
Police began asking her friends at school. Some of them said they saw Adrianne leave for lunch with Corey and Sarah, but she never returned. When investigators called Sarah, she told them that she did see Adrianne that day, and she dropped her off near her home during lunch. She even expressed to police that she was worried for her, that she may have run away, and to let her know if they find anything.
Anything? Suspicious wording.
Yeah, I don't know if that was her exact words, but she was, when they called her, she was like, oh yeah,
acting worried.
Hopefully
like...
she didn't run away. Here's what she was wearing that day, and let me know if you find anything. And so Corey told police the same story. However, investigators and Adrianne's parents were finding their stories weren't adding up. Police continued to call Sarah, and in one phone call, she told them that she didn't actually like Adrianne and that they had gotten into a fight that day. Over that weekend, both Corey and Sarah's families had hired lawyers.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Sarah's family did first, and then Corey did.
Like, when your kids are lying. I think her mum just looked at her and went, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like, Dave, get the Rolodex. We need, like, Jerry the lawyer's number.
I think also Sarah didn't come from that great of a home. There was corporal punishment in her home, so I'm not really sure the exact atmosphere in her home, but...
They like her enough to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, 4 days after Adrianne's disappearance, Corey cracked and gave an emotional confession to his parents, who convinced him to tell the truth to the police. He told them that Sarah choked Adrianne and hit her on the head with a wooden stick. He told them that he smoked a cigarette as they fought in the back seat, and that he was in shock when Adrianne lay in the back seat, and he waited for her to get up, but she didn't. He showed police to the manhole where some of Adrianne's body parts were buried. At this point, the police called Adrianne's parents to let them know that Adrianne was gone. On January 30th, 2005, Corey and Sarah and Nate were arrested on first-degree murder charges. I don't think Nate was, actually. I think just Corey and Sarah were.
Oh, he's like aiding and abetting, isn't he? Or like disposing of a body, or... Yeah.
Concealment of a homicide is what he was charged with, and all three of them were. Shortly after, Nate's grandma notified police of Nate's possible involvement after finding a bloody handsaw. He was arrested and tried as a juvenile. While Corey confessed his side to the police, telling people that it was Sarah who committed the murder, Sarah, on the other hand, had told police that it was Corey who strangled Adrianne, and during the fight in the car, she said Corey even hit Sarah in the face when she told him to stop. She was following his instructions afterwards to dispose of the body. She said she was afraid of Corey after just having seen him kill someone. So varying accounts from the two different kids.
That's classic. But I think it should be easy for them to find out, surely. Like, DNA on her neck? Is that coming up?
Well,
I
no,
don't
I didn't want to get into detail about how, but apparently, like, she was strangled by, like, a bar or, like, a belt. So there weren't, like, fingerprints on her.
Yeah.
And then she was hit in the head. So the stick or whatever, that wasn't around. So they couldn't, like, prove whose fingerprints were on the stick.
They're all as guilty anyway. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
matter.
Sarah and Corey were both charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and concealment of a homicide on February 1st, 2005. They both pled not guilty.
Taking your chances.
Yeah. Sarah was first to go to trial on October 31st, 2005. The trial lasted for 2 weeks, and Sarah was seen as mostly emotionless during it. She would not look at Adrianne's family. When she took the stand, she only admitted to pulling Adrianne's hair during the fight. On November 16th, 2005, Sarah's trial ended in a mistrial after the jury failed to agree on a verdict, 11-1 in favor of conviction.
Oh, who is that one?
That's exactly what I was thinking. 11-1. Who is that one person who's like, no.
Prick.
Yeah.
I know.
But maybe it was a mom who had teenagers and was like, they're teenagers. They don't know what they're doing. Their brains aren't fully formed yet. I would maybe understand that.
I mean, depending on what state you're in, because some states are really shitty, aren't they, with their sentencing of juveniles and stuff. Like, they'll give them life without parole and stuff like that, and it's like they're 16 or 17, and it's like, okay, so they're never going to see the light of day ever again. Like okay, it was brutal, but it was a stupid teenage fight. Again, it does sort of signify like the fact that you can do that, but
right.
It was in a car. It's not like, I don't know, it
And
seems like a fight. It doesn't seem like premeditated.
When you're 17 too, or 16, 17, you still know right from wrong. You know that killing is wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the law in Illinois is.
Well, we'll find out what they got. So, in her second trial on February 6, 2006, Sarah was sentenced to 53 years, convicted on all counts. 48 years for homicide and 5 years for concealment of a homicide.
That's the very bad bit. The concealing of the body is the bad bit. Like, you can kill someone and you could go, oh, fuck. But it's like going, no, gonna bury her. Okay, that hasn't worked. You've got another chance to give up there. And then you try and burn her. Then you've got another chance to give up. Then you rope someone else in. You're going for gold. You are determined to get away with this.
Exactly. You're in deep shit.
Yeah.
Sarah cried during her sentence and told the judge that no one cared about her at the time. She did not apologize, but said that she would do anything to give back what she took away. She is currently serving her sentence at Logan Correctional Center in Illinois. Corey pled guilty to the same charges and in court apologized to Adrianne's family. Adrianne's father said, I guess he's glad he said it. I guess I'm glad I heard it. It doesn't change a whole lot. It still won't bring Adrianne back. Corey was sentenced to 43 years and is currently serving his sentence at the Pontiac Correctional Center in Illinois. Nathan pled guilty to a juvenile count of concealing a homicide and served 5 years in a juvenile detention center. So that was all in 2005-ish, and I looked at where they're at now, because they're all our age, so I wanted to see where they're at now.
Yeah.
Nathan was released from juvie on his 20th birthday in 2008. He was killed along with 2 others in a fiery car crash in 2012. Adrianne's father, Tony...
Oh my God!
Yeah. Adrianne's father, Tony, said of his death, some might say what goes around comes around, but that's ugly, and I don't want to hurt his family. They're hurting enough. Adrianne's mom also said she hoped that he was turning his life around after he got out of juvie, so who knows if he was.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it.
Me neither.
I thought you were going to say he was like a teacher now.
No. He also only got 5 years for cutting up a body and hiding it. And I think Adrianne's parents also thought that was a very short time.
How old was he? Why was he juvenile? Because he was a little bit younger.
Yeah, he was 16.
Or his crime was less serious. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't actually kill anyone. He just helped hide the body and chop it up.
But he obviously stayed out of trouble between out of juvie and...
Yeah, and he only served 4 years in juvie. So as of this year, 2020, both Corey and Sarah have appealed their sentences, citing that their sentencing was unconstitutional as they were minors at the time, and a 40-year sentence for a teen is basically a life sentence. This appeal could have a huge impact nationwide, as there are a high number of juvenile offenders. Corey may find success in his appeal, as he has argued that without him, the police probably wouldn't have found Adrianne's remains.
I don't think that's anything to brag about, mate.
Yeah, Adrianne's dad, Tony, was like, without you, she would still be alive.
It wouldn't have happened.
So...
Yeah. Slow clap for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's in the Dateline episode, and he's always taken this stance of he wanted to do the right thing, and he's somewhat of a hero for telling the truth. And his parents
but only because your parents made you. Your
Yeah.
parents obviously were like, if you don't fucking tell us, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Or like, okay, so if I was a mum of one of the kids in this, I'd be like, I'm going to level with you. Right or wrong, moral or non-moral, the pure fact is, if you don't admit it, the consequence will be worse.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you need to be the first person to come out of this group and dob in the others.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're fucked.
Right.
Like, even harder than they are. You want to make sure you're the first person who gets to say it.
Right. But even if you tell the truth, you didn't tell the whole truth because you blamed the murder, the actual murder, on Sarah. Like, you took no part. You sat in the front and smoked a cigarette.
So we still don't know who murdered her.
Not completely, but during their trial, they had a theory that basically the two girls started fighting. So Adrianne was sitting in the front seat with Corey. Sarah was sitting in the back. Sarah pulled Adrianne's hair.
Yeah, that's exactly what I imagined.
And then they started fighting each other. They were both like choking each other in the back. And then Corey apparently held Adrianne down while Sarah choked her. And then when she had passed out or died, Corey used a belt to like hold her up. Yeah. As like a noose.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I feel a lot less sorry for these people.
Exactly. It was like, if all of this was happening in the back and you were just sitting there smoking a cigarette, you're still very much in the wrong. But I don't believe that you were just sitting there smoking a cigarette.
No. Yeah, that's worse than I thought it was.
Right.
Like,
it wasn't like a cat fight. It was like legit, like Corey held her down while Sarah was on top of her. So Adrianne's parents did not agree with the appeal for either Sarah or Corey, saying that they gave Adrianne the death penalty and they were old enough to know what they were doing. So that's the story of the Adrianne Reynolds murder.
oh, poor Adrianne.
Yeah.
Well, this just goes to show, don't try and hang around with cool kids. Ever.
Don't hang around with juggalos. That's the real.
Juggalos are bad news. By the way, in the break, the secret break that you're going to cut out, I just went to the toilet in my house. We've only got one toilet. Carly was in the bath.
Oh.
Carly was in the bath reading a murder magazine. And she was like, by the way, you know that story you did a couple of weeks ago? I was like, oh yeah. She went, you know, the one with the lady with the really cute dog called Boris. I was like, yeah. She went, well, there's a follow-up. I was like, what is it? And she said, you know the guy who murdered her?
Yeah.
He's been convicted of murdering his second fucking wife.
Finally. Good.
Yeah. I'll read the mag and then I'll update us further. But yeah, that's just in this minute. Beep, 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 beep.
Amazing. Good job,
Yeah.
Carly.
I know. How supportive. While I piss and she bathes.
Do you want me to keep that in?
Sure.
Okay.
Why would I have said it?
I don't know.
You think Rachel, why would I care? Do you know me but at all? So this week I am going to do a really weird murder again. So, you know, last week Ben Fields was fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like at the moment English people are doing fucking weird murders. So this is the murder of Sadie Hartley.
Okay.
Okay. So Sadie Hartley was a 60-year-old communications director and a mother of two from Lancashire who lived alone in a large semi-detached house. So again, she was doing really well for herself. Like she was like single, her kids had grown up. She was like living the life, really nice car, etc.
What year is this?
This is 2014.
Oh.
So, fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday the 15th of January, 2014, police got a call from Sadie's work colleagues who were concerned that they hadn't heard from her in over 24 hours as she wasn't in work as usual and they couldn't get hold of her on the phone. So police arrived and forced her door open and they find Sadie on the floor. She's quite a way into the hallway and she's got stabs to her back and to her thighs. Police officers said the ferocity of the attack really shocked them. Police look into Sadie and they find out that she's dating a guy called Ian, but he's not there at the time. He's on a skiing holiday and he left 10 days ago to go to Switzerland. And Sadie was supposed to join him on that morning, but obviously she'd never left.
Okay.
So he isn't considered a suspect. So he comes back from Switzerland and he tells the police that there was a burglary at Sadie's house and that had taken place earlier in the month of August and it left her really freaked out and shaken up. So this is like the first time she'd been in the house really like on her own after that. Mm-hmm. The house is really secluded. So the police do some house-to-house inquiries in the area and appeal to the press and see if they can find any CCTV from the houses because, you know, like big houses usually have some.
Yeah.
They inspect some CCTV from a neighbour and they spot a suspicious vehicle arriving at and leaving the area on the night of Sadie's murder. Now, it's suspicious because it's a Renault Clio going down a road that ends in a dead end and every other car in the road is a Porsche or an Audi or some type of expensive car. So basically, they thought it could be a delivery driver or it could be something to do with the murder. Ian's back from his holiday and the police say that he seems genuinely devastated that Sadie is dead. So I know we want to tick off a husband did it bingo card, but nay, we cannot.
Not today.
Not today, kids. Every other day probably, but not today. He said that the last time he spoke to her was Tuesday night and she told him that she had had some flowers delivered at the door and they were from an anonymous sender. So she had no idea who from. The person who delivered them was wearing a baseball cap. But the strange thing was that they were like cheap shop-bought flowers rather than the fancy type that you get from a florist.
Okay.
So
that's sketchy.
Why would someone deliver... Yeah, like if you get a flower delivery, you expect it to be in a big fuck-off box, don't you? And like ribbons up the nines, like, yeah.
Yeah, not some plastic bag shit.
I'm happy with any flowers, but like if you're going to deliver me flowers to the door, come on. So,
you can definitely tell the difference. Like, I love flowers, but you can tell the difference when it's from the grocery store.
Yeah, of course you can. Oh, sorry, a bit of a sidebar. Like, when we were in France, we stayed with some friends, and I think Vince has, like, learned from me that if you go to someone's house, you should buy them flowers, or, like, if it's a girl, girls really love flowers. So, like, if you say, oh, here's a bunch of flowers, thanks for letting me stay, that's just, like, really lovely thing to do.
Right.
And he got the girl flowers who we were staying with, and he was like, yeah, she always complains that her boyfriend never gets her flowers. I was like, you have so shown up her boyfriend.
That's like the bare minimum standard thing that a boyfriend can do.
That's what I think. Some people don't agree. Some people, like...
It's so easy.
They cost like 10 quid at the most from the supermarket. And girls are so happy with that.
Right.
If there's any men out there listening, go and buy your girlfriend or significant other like a bunch of flowers tomorrow.
You don't even have to buy them. Go pick 5 flowers from a field somewhere. That's like it works. And if it really works.
If your girlfriend is like, this is shit, don't bother, she's a cunt. So
yeah, she doesn't
there you
know
go.
What real love is.
Either way, you know where you stand. So yeah, so again, really freaked her out. And she felt like it was linked to the burglary that had happened earlier. Like someone was basically just casing the joint. So after more interviews, this is probably on the bingo card, Ian finally confesses that he was cheating on Sadie.
Okay.
With a woman. Yeah, just keep it in your pants. So he confesses he was cheating on her with a woman called Sarah Williams, who was 34 and was from Chester. And this is 55 miles away from where Sadie lives.
A quick question. How old was Sadie and Ian?
So I think Ian is 57 or 56, and he's like an ex-firefighter, and Sadie is 60.
Oh, okay.
So he's kind of like got a bit of a younger woman,
Yeah.
bit like woman his same age.
Right.
He's cheating on her, and Ian described Sarah as being obsessive. And basically they met each other while she was working at a place called the Chill Factory in Manchester, which is a dry skiing slope.
Okay.
They began dating, but Ian broke up with her and started seeing Sadie. So, again, because she was really possessive and, like, clingy. So police started concentrating on Sarah. First thing they do is they track her phone. Like, the police work in this is top notch, I do have to say.
Good.
Yeah, it's really good. So they track her phone, and it turns out that she was in the area of Sadie's house during the time of the flower delivery and the time of the murder. What the fuck are you doing? Like, idiot.
And what'd you say? This is like how many miles away?
55.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, that was stupid. Turn your phone off or don't take it with you. So, like, they arrest her and they quite literally kick her door in at like 2:45 a.m.
Amazing.
And this is on the Sunday, the 17th of January, and Sadie was discovered on the Friday.
Okay.
So they've worked through the weekend and now they're kicking her door in.
Yeah.
Like, that's, again, really impressive. They ambush her in the middle of the night so she doesn't have a chance to destroy evidence or flee the country. And they arrest her on the suspicion of murdering Sadie Hartley. Neighbours, as she has been taken away, ask, are Sarah and David okay? And police say, who's David? And it turns out David is a man in his 60s who Sarah has been in a relationship with since she was 17. He visits Sarah's address at 5 a.m. every morning. David has kids and a wife. Apparently, the wife is aware of their relationship and okay with it.
What?
Yeah, really weird.
So it was more like a friendship. Like they dated when they were teenagers, but
no, they fucked.
Oh,
They fucked all that time apparently.
The fuck?
Yeah, but she's like 34 and he's 60. So when she was 17, he was like 40.
Oh.
So yeah, that's weird.
Okay.
And this is how, like, she calls him her boyfriend the whole time, and when she's arrested, she gives him as her next of kin, and she also says, oh, like, he's looking after my dog. She's got a Jack Russell, by the way. I looked it up.
Oh.
Yeah, didn't see it, unfortunately. Police looked into the text between Sarah and Ian and discovered that they were dating, but the relationship ended 16 months ago. In the notes section of Sarah's phone, she had paragraphs of text about what she wanted to... Sorry. She had paragraphs of text about what she wanted to do to Ian sexually and what she wanted him to do to her. I think it's just the name Ian and sex. Like, I just couldn't get it out. Sorry if there's any Ians out there.
They just don't go together.
I'm sure you're suitably sexy. But also, can you imagine being the police officer reading that? Like, reading other people's sex chat is so gross. Like, ugh.
She was writing a memo to herself so she wouldn't forget? Or was she, like, saying, like, all right, this is what I want to tell Ian? Or...
I think it must be she's just sort of, like, writing it down in the notes and then she's like, I'll send that later. Yeah. Like... sort of thing. Oh, have you ever accidentally read someone else's sex? Because it's so disturbing. Or on TV, like, you know, like when they read it out on what's it called, To Catch a Predator or whatever, and they're like, you want to put his blank in your blank, and like, oh,
so
God.
cringy.
It's so bad.
One time in uni, me and my friend found this guy's phone, and this guy is like, he was really good looking and he was really nice, and we knew who he was, but we didn't know him.
Was he the talk of uni?
Yeah. He was in my class. He wasn't in her class. So I was like, oh, I'll just like give it back to him. And she was like, no, we have to read his text.
Is this Ollie?
No.
Okay.
No.
Don't lie, Rachel.
She was like, we have to read his text. And so I was like, I don't know if we should. I don't want to. And she was like, well, I'm going to.
That's not my first instinct. Well, okay, then if you're going to, then you can fuck off if you think I'm not.
Yeah. She started reading his text between him and his girlfriend. It was just like...
Oh, no, that's really horrible.
They were very, like, sweet to each other. And it's like, I feel bad that I'm even saying this now, but they were just really nice. And they did talk about sex a little bit, but... I always remember that of just being like, I'm not going to read it. And she was like, well, I'm going to.
You're like, this isn't funny. This just feels like betrayal.
Yeah. I don't even know this guy, but I wouldn't
These
want...
poor innocent lovers, like not gross, like I want to shove this up your ass, like just like lovely, like, oh, I miss you, like I want to kiss your neck or something, like nice, like
exactly.
Oh god. I have a rule in my life now, which is you don't look at anyone's phone but your own.
Right.
Like, because there's nothing in there you want to see, trust me.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter who it is, you don't want to see it.
Not your significant other, not anyone. Only look at your own. It only causes problems no matter what.
They are a hive of scum and villainy. But of someone else's scum and villainy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just don't do it. But yeah, police have to do it all the time, I guess.
Yeah.
So this guy had a good old read of her sexy texts and was like, he on the documentary as well, he's like, there's a lot of it. So the police also discover that Sarah wrote Sadie a letter saying that her and Ian were having fantastic sex behind Sadie's back and that she's the best he's ever had and that they've never been able to get enough of each other. And in the letter, she also wrote, you can't satisfy him like I can, and he's told me himself that he doesn't love you.
She sounds like a shitty person.
Yeah. She's also like, that's just vengeful. Like, it's not going to get him back. Like, and plus you've already got him, really, because he's cheating on Sadie with you.
Right.
He's obviously just that kind of scuzzy guy who, like, won't choose. He'll be like, well, if I can fuck both of them, I will.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's not Sadie's fault. It's not like she's like vindictively, she doesn't even know. So
no. Like, and in it as well, her daughter's in the documentary, which is really sad, and she's just like, my mum was just a nice woman, like she's really nice, like if you ever had a problem you could go to her, she was really kind and lovely. And you're just like, fucking hell, this is awful. So this caused some issue in the relationship, obviously. But Ian somehow, I don't know how, I'd like to find out, but he just convinced Sadie to get over the letter. And I think he probably convinced her that there was nothing going on. After the letter, though, he carried on communicating with Sarah, including explicit photos. So he's a piece of shit. I don't like
him either.
He is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So when Sarah's interviewed, she denies the murder and said she went home from work ill on the night of the murder and met with her boyfriend David, her weird 60-year-old boyfriend. Forensic experts examine Sarah's home while she's in custody. And despite the house being cleaned top to bottom with bleach, they find some dilute blood on and in one of the bathroom sinks. Okay. And they send that off for testing, hoping that it belongs to Sadie. Because it'll be impossible to explain how Sadie's blood got in her house.
Right.
So that's the hope. So the police conduct a second interview with Sarah and find out that she admits that her and Ian broke up due to her clinginess. And she details to them what she wrote in the letter to Sadie. And she said that after she wrote the letter, Sadie called her and just told her to leave them alone. The police said, are you jealous of Sadie? Also, imagine right now she's being accused of murder. She's like cool as a cucumber. And she just goes, no, the way I see it, like if he's happy to spend 12 months messing her around and cheating on her and talking about leaving her, then that's not something to be jealous of. And like, she's just, just completely chill.
Wow.
So then they start looking at the flower delivery, and they suspect that this was Sarah basically using the chance to scope out the house and make sure it was the correct one. However, Sadie knew what Sarah Williams looked and sounded like at this time. So it must have been somebody else that delivered the flowers, because she didn't say Sarah came around and delivered flowers. Right. She said somebody delivered me flowers, and she said that they were wearing a baseball cap. So Sarah has a best friend, and she's a lady called Katrina, and she's 56. Like, Sarah just likes hanging out with older people. Yeah. Get some friends your own age.
I can't imagine having a 56-year-old best friend right now.
Not best friend. Like, I can imagine having a friend.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no. They're not like your bezzer. Like, you're not like going out with it. Like, you just don't have the same things. Anyway. Yeah. That's not the point. Yeah. The point is Sarah's weird. So, they notice when they speak to her that she has a silver Astra car, and a silver Astra was spotted by the CCTV on the street around the time of the murder. Witnesses said that it contained a woman and a bald man, And when they were speaking to Katrina, she revealed that she had alopecia. And when she removed her cap, she had a bald head with just a few strands of hair. So she constantly wore a baseball cap. And as we said before, Sadie reported that her flowers were delivered by someone wearing a baseball cap. So alarms are going off. So they have her phone and they decide to check with GPS where she was on the night of the murder. And you can guess where she was, Rachel.
Driving her car around Sadie's home.
Yes, she was.
Okay.
She was around the area when the flowers were delivered, and they also managed to find police footage of Sarah William buying flowers accompanied by a person in a baseball cap. At this point, like, they're fucking banged to rights. Like, they're literally just waiting for the fucking DNA to come back.
Do you even need DNA at this point?
I mean, I kind of find, like, British courts, like, a little bit can't be bothered unless it's absolutely nailed to the wall, you're going to be convicted. Like, I feel like they don't really bother unless they know they're going to get it.
Right.
So they make sure, like, I feel in America, people try their luck quite a lot. Prosecutors do. That doesn't really happen here. I feel like people just have to, in this day and age, really, really prove it.
Yeah.
They've arrested Katrina on suspicion of murder, and they've arrested Sarah on suspicion of murder. So forensic scientists find a piece of metal in the neck of Sadie's jumper that she was wearing at the time of the murder, and that comes back as being part of a stun gun. So somebody has opened the door and stun gunned her and then stabbed her. Yeah. I don't know if it's necessary, but anyway, when Katrina is brought in for questioning, she initially says she has memory problems, and if she doesn't write things down, she forgets them in, air quotes, 3 sleeps. She's like a riddle me this. Yeah. Like, she looks like Gollum and she speaks like Gollum. Like, she's so weird. She's really freaky.
Just the perfect murder suspect.
She's also, like, she's clearly quite vulnerable. Like, I think she might have learning difficulties, or she might have some sort of social difficulties, because she is just weird. The way she talks, the things she says, she doesn't seem to read the situation. Because when they're arresting her, you know, like, basically you get checked into the jail and somebody says, like, how are you feeling? Do you feel like you're going to kill yourself or anyone else? Like, do you feel well? Do you feel unwell? All that kind of stuff. When they're doing that, they have to tell her to stop talking because she's just incriminating herself. And then she replies, I want to get it all out before I forget it, and stuff like that. So
I guess when you're a cop, though, you're like, yes, please.
Yeah, a little bit. But I don't think they're going to have any trouble getting info out of her, like, whatsoever.
Right. How does Sarah find these people?
Like, psychopaths are like wolves, aren't they? They sniff people out. Like, they sniff out the weak.
Yeah. Also, I just realized both of our murderers are named Sarah this week.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, geez, watch out. I've got a good friend called Sarah.
Me too.
She's very nice, though. She sent me essential oils. That doesn't seem like a murdery thing to do. Yeah, plus she's really nice. Like, she couldn't be bothered to murder anyone, I wouldn't think. As we can see from each week, it's a fucking lot of work.
It is.
So, yeah, she also says that she's written things down in her diary, bingo, but she flushed some pages down the toilet. She also said that she's petrified of Sarah, and also petrified that she's done something wrong and she's hidden it and she can't remember. But she thinks that she's hidden something in the muddy area next to her horse's stable. Now, if this seems a bit like all over the place, that's because it is. She is crackers. Like, when she's talking, she just starts to, like, hyperventilate and panic for no reason. Like, obviously not no reason, but...
Is there videos of it, or...?
Yeah, so on YouTube, just type in The Murder of Sadie Hartley. I don't know if you'll get it in America because it's an ITV documentary, but it's really good. And that's what I watched when I did this, because I couldn't find any more detailed, better way of how it was told.
Right.
So yeah, it's really, really good. So during the questioning of Katrina, the police find more CCTV which shows Sarah and another figure leaving her house on the night of the murder, when she said she was in bed asleep alone. Because they said to her, what were you doing the night of the murder? She said, I was just in bed, I got sent home from work ill.
Yeah.
Sarah is brought in for a 4th interview where the police confront her with all the evidence that they have. They confront her with the CCTV of her leaving her house, of her buying flowers, of her driving up to deliver the flowers, and then leaving her house on the night of the murder. They also show her the phone records, and then she starts answering no comment. Whereas before she was talking fine.
Okay.
So she's obviously got a fucking clue now.
Yeah.
And
she knows she's
back
in
at
deep shit now.
Yeah. So back at Sarah's house, the forensic team collected 68 objects over 5 hours of searching, and one of those was an old Nokia phone found under her bed. Old school. Oh, I fucking love those things. I'd have that back in a heartbeat. So the first
That was my
call,
first phone.
Yeah, it was mine. I fucking loved it. Like,
Playing
what is it,
Snake.
3210? Oh, just playing Snake. Sending someone a text message that could only be 160 characters long.
Yeah.
Like, them were the days. TB. The first call made on that phone is to her own work. And then the second call that she made on that phone is to Sadie's work. And then the rest of the people were people who the police called them and they were like, why did this person call you? And they said, well, I was selling a car. So the last call that she made was to a gentleman who sold her the same Renault Clio that was seen in the area on the night of the murder. So they try and find the car with number plate recognition cameras, but with no luck. This was because Sarah had changed the 3 on the license plate to an 8 with black tape. Once they had the correct number plate, they found the car 55 miles away in an abandoned car park and recover it.
Also, I'm sure that's a crime to change your license plate number.
Yeah, that's the least of this bitch's worries, though.
I'm just, ever since like doing this podcast, I'm starting to like add up the different like
sentences.
crimes. Yeah.
Yeah, like the crimes you committed as a parcel when committing the big crime.
Right. Like you didn't just kill someone, you also can be convicted for changing your license plate number.
Very much so. Yeah. So they have recovered the car that Sarah tried to get rid of. So essentially, she's like bought a car just to kill Sadie and then like abandoned it in a car park. So like that's how hard she's thought about this. The fact that she didn't not take her phone with her is kind of mad.
Yeah. Good
Maybe
job
she
to
just
the
didn't
police,
know.
though.
Yeah, but like it wasn't that hard. They just had to fucking look at her phone records and be like, well, you were there. Like maybe because she had like a burner phone or what, I don't know, like she had like a Nokia. It's not a burner, so I guess it just must be her old phone. But
Right.
They ask Katrina who killed Sadie Hartley, and she says that she knows Sarah did, but she didn't know how she knew. She said that she thought Sarah was a psychopath. She remembers that Sarah wanted to find, this is in quotes, Sarah wanted to find the bitch and take Ian off the bitch. She also confirms that Sarah and her drove all the way to Germany to buy the stun gun because they're illegal in the UK.
There's a lot of thought that went into this. There's a lot of premeditated.
So turn your fucking phone off, you idiot.
Yeah. You drove to Germany. You bought a car just for this situation.
That she bought the car in cash, like all this kind of stuff. Like not like you've concentrated too hard on the wrong bits.
Right.
Like, if I had to critique your murder, I would say you've really focused your efforts in the wrong areas. Because that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you fucking do. If you don't turn your phone off, then you might as well just hand yourself in anyway. Also, I can confirm that when me and Vince went to France, we took a car with us and we drove the car onto the ferry, and then the ferry went to France, and then we drove into France. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, you could have fucking anything in that car. Yeah. Like, they don't x-ray your car. No. Like, they don't go through your stuff. It's not like the airport. Like,
don't they have dogs or?
I didn't see any, but like, you're not allowed to go onto the car bit like once the boat has started.
Right.
You have to go upstairs, and then you can't go back down to your car until they tell you can. So maybe at that point they've got like drugs dogs like sniffing it and stuff, or bomb dogs. I guess they're just so smug in the fact that a boat would sink slowly enough for you all to be saved that they don't care. Like it is like, it's so easy to sneak shit. I've heard of a guy before sneaking a body from England to like Poland.
What?
Just drove it in his car. Yeah. Wow. On the ferry. It can be done.
You never know what's on the ferry.
No, I just think it's really sketchy considering how harsh they are on plane security.
Yeah, it is. I thought about that too when because I went to uni in Wales, and then my family lived in Ireland, so I would take the ferry every time I went back home. Yeah. And it was so easy. It was, you just walk on this boat and you're in another country. Sometimes they don't always even check your passport. It's just like, oh, you're on a boat. You're good to go.
Like, see ya. like on into the great blue yonder, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted to escape, like, yeah, you could. The police then get the blood samples back from the swabs taken at Sarah's house, and they were 100% matched to Sadie's DNA.
Obviously.
So, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. The police interview, do you know what? It almost seems like she's playing at being a really good murderer, but she actually isn't one.
No.
Like, so the
Sounds
police...
like she has a big ego.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, like, apparently she was, like, clingy and overbearing. And obviously she's sending letters to somebody's new partner and stuff. And, yeah, just being a bit fucking mad. So they interview Katrina again because she is singing like a canary. And they find out, a mad canary, they find out that she's hidden, in her words, a zapper, a knife, and the soles of some boots, because Sarah gave her a bag of clothes and towels covered in blood and told her to destroy the evidence. So after all these interviews and stuff, they present all their evidence to the CPS, which is the Crown Prosecution Service, and they say, yep, you can charge them both with Sadie's murder. So Katrina, when asked why she didn't just walk into the police station and tell them about the plan, said she was too scared of Sarah and that Sarah was going to kill her and frame her for the murder.
I'm really interested in Sarah and Katrina's supposed friendship. Like, where did Sarah find Katrina? How did they meet?
They met at riding stables because Katrina works at a riding stables and Sarah went there to ride horses. But yeah, like Katrina is definitely not all the ticket.
Right.
Really vulnerable. So they decide to search the stables where Katrina hid the items, and they make the controversial decision. Thing is, it says controversial decision, like she's like a child who's been found out.
Yeah.
She's just scared, and I think she thinks if she says sorry enough, then nothing will happen. She takes them to the stables and she shows them exactly where the area is that she buried the pepper spray, a taser, with the missing metal part that was found in Sadie's jumper, the car key for the abandoned car, and most importantly, the murder weapon, which was a knife. And when they find the knife, it's massive. It's about 10 inches, and it's got a serrated edge, and it still has blood on it.
Wow.
And she buried it all, like, she pushed it into the mud, and then she put horse shit on top of it.
Wow.
So it would never have been found, I don't think. It was on the bank of a river as well, so, like, it would have got washed away eventually, maybe, I don't know. But
do you ever think about, like, when you're walking in the woods, there could be anything buried there?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I just think, like, well, we walk the dog around this, like, track, and there's, like, woods on either side of it, and we go down there, and there's always sketchy shit down there. Like, mostly it's just, like, beer cans where kids have been sitting around, and, you know, because you used to go in the woods when you were a kid to drink. Yeah. And, like, those like little canisters from when you do like Noz laughing gas and stuff because it's Bristol, but I always think like it's always like a fucking used condom or it's just like the shit that goes on in the woods. Like, no.
Yeah, and you never know if you stumble upon something, you're like, could this be a clue in something?
I know.
Or is it just a piece of trash?
Oh my God, right. I can't believe I haven't said this before on the podcast. My friend Sarah, the one who I mentioned earlier, who sent me essential oils, her mum is a very devout Catholic, and she's a lovely lady, does loads of charity work, just like lovely. And she went, oh yeah, Sarah, I found a knife out the back of the garden the other day, like just behind the fence, so I've just washed it and put it in the drawer. Sarah was like, Mum! What the fuck are you doing?
Was there blood on it?
I don't know. Like, have I told you that before?
No.
I can't believe I mentioned that, yeah. I was like, what the fuck is your mum doing?
I have a similar story. So, you know that story I told about our hometowns, about the murder house that Will lived in and grew up in? So, Will's mom was like gardening one day in that house, and she dug up this metal, it's like a doorstop, but it looks like a bug, like it's in the shape of a bug. And it's really heavy and metal, and it was buried in the yard. And
suspect.
It's so suspect considering the house.
A
And
child died there from being beaten. Oh my God.
Why was that buried? And so she found it, and I think she gave it to us. I think we have it. So,
what?
Yeah.
Rachel?
I don't know. That could be something.
You need to send a picture of that to the guy that wrote the book, the White Bear book.
Yeah.
You send a picture of it to him.
I don't know. It's if I think too much about it, I get really stressed out about it because I'm like, what if this is? And
I know what you
nobody's
mean.
Found it.
Like sometimes you're like, oh, that would be really cool if I can't be bothered. Oh my God, wouldn't it be so cool if
No, that would change my life forever.
Yeah, it wouldn't be cool. It would just be a lot of fucking admin.
Right.
Yeah. So after they find all the stuff that she's like pushed into the mud and then covered in horse shit, they're like, this convinces us that you've played a willing and significant role in Sadie's murder. She also claimed that she can't remember things for more than 3 days, but they found her diaries. So in the documentary, it's some poor woman's job to read her diaries from 2010 to 2015. Like,
what
she's got
a mind clusterfuck.
Fuck. Like, she had to be an intern or like first year of the job. So I mean, it is really important for the case, obviously, but Jesus Christ, like everyone else is down the pub at that point.
Yeah.
So there's mentions of taking Sadie out that start 18 months before the murder. So
wow,
it's very premeditated. She wrote everything that was happening and her excitement at committing the perfect murder. In August 2013, one entry she wrote said, Sarah came round, so got caught up in endless murder plots for Ian's other half. Seriously talking of getting rid of her opponent. She does seem like a totally evil bitch. Wow, I might be an instrumental thing in helping remove the awful woman. This may happen. I'm unexpectedly excited by this. Was buzzing so much I needed a southern comfort to wind down a bit. I have no moral qualms, just a serious don't get caught twinge.
Whoa.
That is, I mean...
Those are sane sentences.
Yeah, definitely. Like, how... There's no way of getting out of that. Like, right. No way. Also, will people stop keeping diaries? It is fucking nuts. Like, do you keep a diary?
Not exactly. I do this thing called morning pages where you're supposed to get up in the morning and write 3 pages of like just stream of consciousness to like get out all of your anxieties and everything.
Yeah.
So I do that.
That basically is a diary though. Like
it
if you were gonna murder someone, you'd be writing it in there.
Right. Yes. Murder is anxiety inducing, so I would guess that you would be writing about that a little bit at least.
I mean, luckily you aren't going to murder anyone that I know of. But yeah, I mean, I only write stuff down when I feel like I'm so stressed that writing it down would help. Like, so I went to CBT therapy, and one of the things they teach you to do is to write down what your worry is and then why that may or may not happen, or like the likelihood of it happening, so that you can figure out in your head that when you're catastrophizing. So I do that, but I tried to keep a diary, and I was just like, no. And I read it back, and I was just like, God, this is so sad.
I've had a diary since I was like 10, and then a couple years ago, I read that it's not always good to have a diary if you're like, somebody who has anxieties or things like that, because diaries can make you dwell on a situation rather than figure it out. And so that's why I started doing morning pages, because they're more like you're kind of forced to like be like, okay, these are my problems, now get over it and get it out of your head, rather than like, dear diary, today this boy
Yeah, me and Carly watch a funny English show called Men Behaving Badly. Like, Tony, a guy in it, reads Deborah, a girl that he fancies, diary, and it's like from when she was 15, and it just said, I like Donnie from the Bay City Rollers. When I look at him, he makes me feel all funny. And he was like, these are shit. Yeah, anyway, so she fucking definitely was up for the murder. During the trial, they both pled not guilty.
Why?
How, I do not know.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't look, but I'm pretty sure Katrina would have said through reason of insanity.
Okay.
And the brass neck on fucking Sarah to say she wasn't guilty is absolutely crackers. But I think she probably tried to blame it on Katrina. So it's, again, a bit similar to yours where they blame it on each other.
Yeah.
So the trial lasted 6 weeks and both of them were found guilty. Okay. Sarah was sentenced to a minimum of 30 years and Katrina to a minimum of 25. And that is the murder of Sadie Hartley.
So Katrina didn't really get away with her insanity plea or anything of that nature.
No, but I think it's really annoying watching her interrogation videos when you know what it says in the diary.
Yeah.
You're like, you are such a shitty actress and like you're just hamming it up so hard. Like,
right.
She like goes, oh my God, I remember this. Oh my God, she killed her. Like acting. And it's just like, oh, that is so fucking cringe. Just like...
Yeah. You've watched too many crime movies.
Yeah, basically. And she's bad actress. And like, and there's pages torn out of her diary. Like, she's obviously, like I said, she's obviously not completely of sound mind because she rips some stuff out but not other stuff that is very, very incriminating. So yeah, it's a bit weird.
I've decided that this episode is Crimes of Passion, but I'm renaming it Crimes of Pettiness because that's all Crimes of Passion are. It's just like, get over yourself.
Yeah, they don't like you anymore. Yeah. There's other people out there. Crimes of there's other people out there. Crimes of you should have gotten over it.
Yeah.
Aren't all crimes like quite selfish and stupid?
They are, but when it comes to like love triangles and bullshit like that, it's just like, it's extra petty because it's like you're writing to the other woman saying, oh, my sex is better than yours, or you're
I shag better than you.
Right. It's like, what?
I'd just be like, fair enough. I mean, okay. Well, I don't know how Ian got around. Like, he must be charming as fuck or Sadie must just be so nice and naive that she just believed him. But like, I want to hear that conversation. I mean, he's obviously done that thing, I think, where he goes, she's a crazy bitch, don't listen to her.
Right.
Like, I've had boyfriends say that about me to other people, and I've had them say it to me about people that have come to me and said, your boyfriend's cheated on you.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just a crazy bitch. Like, yeah.
Well, what did you do?
Yeah.
To cause the crazy bitchiness? Yeah. Like, that's what I ask now. It's like, well, in what way were you gaslighting her?
Yeah, it's like, oh, my ex was a crazy bitch. Was she, though?
Yeah.
Like, or were you fucking unbearable to the point of driving someone insane?
Exactly. Because I've been there. And I'm sure at least one of my ex-boyfriends has said, oh, she did this and she did that. It's like, well, what was leading up to that?
I hate to hear what my ex-boyfriends say about... In their defense, I have done some crazy shit. But, like, I felt it was justified at the time. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that's your 20s. We're past those now.
I'm not doing shit like that anymore. Absolutely not. Yeah, Rachel, I am so covered in sweat. It's insane. It's so cloudy here.
I had to close my window because of the construction. So
there's a thunderstorm going on outside. Thunder and lightning. Yeah.
Just go stand in it. Cool off.
Fucking hell. And I'll sing Train. Like drops of Jupiter in her hair. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
after this.
do that.
That was kind of short and sweet, maybe. I don't know.
That was like 2 hours.
Exactly, get off.
There's a lot to cut out. All right.
Yes.
I will talk to you soon.
Bye, mate.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Transatlantic Crime this week. If you liked what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe.
And if you'd like to follow us on social media, you can find us on Twitter
at Transat Crime Pod, Instagram at Transatlantic Crime, and on Facebook with Transatlantic Crime Podcast.
Thanks, bye.